Hi everyone, John from Lather Talk here, again with Gerard from Hey Gerard Shaves and from West Coast Shavings, The Daily Shave. So today me and Gerard will be talking about soap bases. In particular, all these fantastic, oftentimes premium soap bases that the artisan community has been pumping out these last few months. So Gerard, I know you have reviewed a few of these for The Daily Shave YouTube channel. I'm curious, what are you thinking about all these soap bases?
Um, yeah, I mean, I never thought that I would. I can't say that I'd be nitpicking over these soap bases because like earlier in the previous discussion, we are just talking about like, is this really necessary? Like good. I think, and for the most part, I think my belief was just like, oh, good soap is just good soap, right? But artisans are just kind of wanting to elevate their product and not necessarily be like the best among the best. I don't know if that's true or not, but at least just putting, if they know that they can make a better product than they did before, they're going for it, and we are truly spoiled like with a lot of these new bases that have come out just probably within the past month and a half.
Yeah.
And like who knows where it's going to go from here. So yeah, I mean, I actually have the kind of like the quote unquote high rated ones with me right now.
Oh, sure. Yeah, please go ahead.
So like I have here Murphy McNeil, Black Mountain Shaving, Nantahala. I also have Declaration Grooming. This is Massacre of the Innocents. And I also have Zingari Man, The Wanderer. I want to give a shout out also to Holy Cow, who's came out with their recent Soap Base Sierra. I don't have it yet. We will see when the wallet, opens up and there's money in it again, then I will likely pick it up. But for the moment, it is not. But I know you picked it up recently, so you'll probably talk about that. Anything in particular, like just kind of maybe are you wondering about my thoughts, observations, things like that with each of them?
Well, I guess we can go back and forth on the list too, since we're kind of just sharing our findings. And I do really appreciate the very, I think, scientific approach that that you've used in your previous daily shaves. And I feel like the more you use them, both more times within the same soap, but also in the rotation, I think you could probably have more observations for us. But I guess first off is, what do you think about within the same artisan, right? Are these remarkable jumps? So for instance, when Declaration Grooming came out with Milksteak, how does it compare to its previous, the Bison Tallow, or with Zingari Man, right? Like they've had, I know within this same year too, the Heather's vegan soap base got a V2, which I thought was excellent. And then now we have a tallow formula and whatnot. I'm just curious what your findings are within the same artisan.
Okay, so I can speak for that more on Zingari Man.
Sure.
Because I did have the Mariner in her second vegan iteration. And so I love that base, and she was a very new artisan. Like, I mean, she's only been out for about a year.
Yeah.
If little over that, at least as Zingari Man.
Good point.
And so like I already liked the base. So I wasn't one of her testers as far as testing out Sago, but when the opportunity came up, I picked it up right away. And I would say that, is there a jump? Yes. And I think for, in terms of reviewers and things like that, I'm going to give a shout out to Ruds. I know like he's a good friend of yours. I'm a big fan like of his content, but he's probably like, I don't know if anyone else has quantified their rating scale on how a soap performs. All right. So if I remember right, I think her second vegan base was like a 94, a 95, somewhere in there. And then he scored this as the 99. All right. I don't know, I don't really, I don't know if I can like give like a point by point, increment, just to break it down like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not how I am. But what I will say about this is that the first thing I noticed was that I have hard water here at the apartment in which I stay at. And this was just so easy to load.
Mm.
And I think if you watch the video on West Coast Shaving, I was just taken aback by it. I think Bearster and Man is known for, like trying to, you know, work with water varieties of all types.
Sure.
I can't speak really for the rest of for some of the others. I'm just not aware,
Mm-hmm.
if that's a priority for them. But this was just fantastic to work with, and so I could only imagine if you have like better water or softer water wherever you're at. It was noticeable from this compared to the V2 vegan base from Singari Man. But again, it's like comparing like an A minus to an A,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or an A to an A plus in this case. If it's a 94 to a 99, like good is good. Okay, so I kind of want to put that out there. As far as declaration grooming goes, I didn't have any of their other soaps. I had used a couple of them a couple of times.
Okay.
I want to say I used when it was still when it was L&L. It was still
Yes.
It was just
Yeah.
Bison. Is that the Bison base, or did they go declaration with Bison first?
Yes. So no. I need to offer a correction. So before Milksteak was Icarus.
Correct.
And then before Icarus was Bison. And yes, L&L. That's the first soap base from L&L / Declaration. Yeah.
Okay, and so I did use. Then I've used both, and I remember them being very good. Again, probably just minuscule in amounts. I will say, I've just had a chance to use this like 2 or 3 times,
mm-hmm.
and this is one of probably the slickest soaps, that I've used. Is it, if Rudd scored this at 100 and scored this at a 99, Ooh. Is there a discernible difference? I think it's like your mileage may vary, and so I think with the bases, you're just going to see little increments, probably more in the post-shave game, where it's just going to leave your skin feeling softer and better. Like I can literally, I'll just use this, like this is Ngari Man. Okay. Like I can just push on this, and you can just see like the little divot. I don't know if it's the light's kind of doing that.
Yeah, I think I can see your thumb.
Just like it feels so slick already. It feels like a balm on my hand already. And I know other soaps are going to feel like that, but I think when you shave with stuff that's of this quality, whether it's them or the others, like it's definitely discernible. I guess I'll put it on the other end too, because like comparing these is really minuscule. So I'll probably it'd probably be better if I talked about like, I don't have it with me, it's in the room, but like a classic one, like Mitchell's Wool Fat.
Okay,
right?
Sure.
So I have some of Mitchell's Wool Fat. For those of you that don't know, historic, like probably close to 100 years old at this point. It's made in England, primarily. It's a wool or sheep tallow. I think with regular tallow as well. It's an excellent. I don't know exactly, but
I forget.
I'm assuming it's wool fat. It says wool fat, so
lanolin is a key ingredient in that one, right? So
yeah, for sure. And I even did a review, I think, for West Coast Shaving with it, and it's a very good soap, right? Very little post shave feel, if any, right? And it is noticeable as compared to any of the ones that I mentioned earlier, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think and you and I were talking about this, and I don't know if it's a good time to bring it up, but maybe even trying to come out with our own tier list rather than a numerical type of review system. But how did you describe it?
Sure. So kind of just to give a little bit of background,
Sure.
in and you mentioned Rudd shaves as well, and we're just the kind of the number of soaps that he's tried, and other hardware as well, but especially in soaps, I think when a new soap hits, I do know that his his review, his feedback has has a heavy sway in the community. So now that there are soaps that have hit 100, where do you go from there? And that's that might be a philosophical thing. Should anything, if you're doing out of 100, should anything ever receive 100? If you're doing out of 5, do things actually get a 5? So what Gerard and I had talked about is this idea that borrowed from, basically, for those into video games, in particular fighting games like Street Fighter 2 and whatnot, they have these tier lists. And typically it goes, S class is your top, is what people have called elite, as far as these kind of top tier soaps. So S class, and then you go down A, B, C, and D. I don't think it goes below that. That kind
No.
of, but
well, in fighting games, there's not enough characters to probably.
Good. That's a good point. I mean, nowadays, who knows those expanding casts? But that's another podcast. But as far as soapless, I think that's something that we might like to work on, and essentially it's a living, breathing document, because as over time, not to say within a month or two, you're going to see things shift around, but that S class is going to change over time, because everything that's S class less than a year ago, within this year, would have all just got pushed down. Granted, it's like, Declaration just pushed Icarus out of the way for its own newest iteration, but I think it's a fluid system that I'm curious if we can try it, give that a try. And even just having someone else to bounce ideas off of, if it differs, I think that'll be interesting where we differ. It's like, I really think it's this, it should be this tier. It'll be a fun, lively debate. So that's kind of.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead. I was rambling a bit.
So yeah, no, I think it is. I think it's an excellent way of probably categorizing different soaps by their bases. And the reason I specifically mentioned bases is because, scents are subjective to all of us. We both know that, but I think I just want to put it out there.
Of course.
The base is really what's performing, not the scent. At least for this subject. But yeah, just to kind of go back a bit on Reds, and you had mentioned, is it going to stop at 100? And I made a comment on one of the videos shortly after, I think he gave the 100 to Declaration, that there's a company out there called DxO Mark. They rate basically cameras and video products and things like that. And a few years ago, they hit the 100, and then people are just like, okay, so it's perfect. Well, no, they're going to push past that. They've since pushed past that. And so what happens is that, that 100 became a score of the time in which that product was reviewed or released. So it's 2019 or late 2019, and it seems to be the peak is 99, 100 with these soap bases. Last year, Barrister and Mann released Excelsior, and for a long time on Rudd's shaves, that was at a 98, and that was King of the Mountain, pretty much like for a long time. So next year, are we going to see a 101, a 102? In 2 years, are we going to see a 103, 104? Incremental updates that are noticeably better than their predecessors, but still quantifiable on that scale. And he said yes, but I just think the tier class is a different way to kind of do something similar, because at that point you're not arguing on whether there should be something past 100 as a score. you can just agree that these are all of similar quality or similar, performance, as far as the soap base is concerned.
Right. And you had mentioned this before, where you're dealing with hard water, and that is a very real factor, because in Massachusetts, for the most part, we have very soft water. I never have to worry about like that's affecting the performance of the soap, whether the lather just kind of, I think what happens, right, with really hard water is the lather just kind of loses all volume and just kind of dies on you mid-shave sometimes. In probably some of the older soaps. But anyway, what's funny, I think, I'm not sure if you've come across much of this, but there's like kind of pushback on reviewers. And I do just want to address that, in that have this little project for us doing the tier class. It's just really, it's fun for us, you and me, who enjoy trying out different soaps. But I think what we also want to do is sharing kind of like just a little bit of like a road marker, right? Because even between you and me, I'm sure we'll differ sometimes. We like this soap, one person likes one soap over the other, but at the same time, if we score them on the same tier, then at least we kind of know, it's confirmation of our findings. And I just hope it's just an additional tool for folks who can't buy and you shouldn't buy every single soap that releases, because that's just too much. But for folks who are trying to make informed purchase, decision to buy something, try something out, I think I just want to put it out there that this is just, it's our opinion. You can take it or leave it, but if you find what we're finding, then I think that it just makes it a more trustworthy recommendation. And that kind of applies for even scents, right? So like if I love florals and you love citrus, then you can always, at least go to me for recommendations in that category. For the record, I don't love I don't love florals, but that's the same thing with the experience of the soap bases. We're just two guys who love this stuff and want to at least make that data available and hopefully useful to you guys.
Yeah, no, most definitely, and maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm speaking for a lot of people, but I do think a lot of people, I think scent is primary, and then the base might be likely secondary, if they're even thinking about that in the first place. Kind of like what I've found is that certain, and this is not even like a scientific study, but if I've noticed, like with certain shaves that I've done for West Coast shaving, certain scents, come up more, have a significantly higher number of reviews than others, right? So I'll give you an example that I did a shave with Sterling's Executive Man, which is inspired by Creative Ventus. And I think more people are maybe searching for Creative Ventus soaps, or maybe where they heard that Executive Man smells like it, because that has a significantly higher number of views than others. And it goes others along the same trend. So I think, I do think that scent is probably a bigger factor than the base itself for a lot of people.
That's true. I mean, if I throw out the question that if I gave you like the best, slickest soap with the best post shave, that smelled like poop, or, like either an average to like a slightly drying soap that smelled like your favorite cologne, like which one would you choose? And I would say most people would choose the latter.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a big extreme. I mean, depending on it. Bear Stearns Man did not release night music this year, right? No, they did not. So
I don't think that's coming back.
So you know what? It was definitely a love it or hate it.
Right.
I was not, I did not pick it up, but like I know people that just would buy 2-3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but probably scent is another topic for another day.
For sure. But I mean, I think what, the idea that you put out there, that how important it is, for sure. I I think knowing kind of the soap performance, it helps when, let's say there is also, a very popular topic like clone dupes. If you have 3 or 4 different artisans that have that similar scent, how do you choose which one to go with? And in that case, right, I think knowing soap performance really, really might help you make a decision there.
Yeah, could be, especially if they're all similarly priced. And
true,
things like
true.
That's,
Yeah.
I mean, those are the other factors, and then you can just go about it that way. I think we mentioned Aventus because most people know that if they make a dupe, it'll sell.
True. Yeah. It's a very safe bet if you're a new artisan to release, at least have one of your scents be an Aventus clone.
And again, who gets the spoils? We do. We have options.
Yeah. Very true. So I guess because you've so you haven't tried Holy Cow yet. So we'll just say with that caveat, from the few that you just showed before, do you have a favorite amongst those?
I mean, not really. I mean, one, I don't want to piss anybody else off.
Sorry. Not to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
but.
yeah. No, I mean, because with Nantahala, it's the first Murphy and McNeil soap that I bought from them. I know.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So, and things like that, and everyone was raving over this, and I like you. I recently got. I'm kind of dipping my toes in the water of fragrances.
Yeah.
So when I heard that this was, based on Parfums de Marley Herod, I knew I was going to get this. And I mean, yeah, it's, I would say it's like scent-wise. Okay. I like scent-wise. I like Massacre.
Okay.
And I would probably put Nantahala. Then I'd probably put Wanderer. But Wanderer is like Wanderer is a barbershop scent. And it's my favorite type of barbershop scent.
Sure.
I mentioned that, just like I enjoy barbershops. Shaver Heaven, Reef Point, those are 2 artisans that are no longer in production. And this is very much along those lines. And so I'm just like, all right, because I knew that their tubs are just like very, very, I have little left. So I have a go-to now, so, but I mean, am I going to use Massacre of the Innocents every single day? Like I could, but I'm not going to wear Herod every single day. This is probably going to be for special occasions, things like that.
Gotcha.
And same thing, with Nantahala. Nantahala is I don't think it's based on anything. It's an original scent, and it's really good too. I really like it. So.
Nice. Yeah. I believe, I have tried those, all the bases that you mentioned too. And I think it's hard to choose a favorite other than going by, hey, which is your favorite scent? And I don't know about you, but they definitely would all fall into the S class. We have yet to create that document, but those are easy drop. We're just gonna populate the top of that list and work our way from there.
Mm-hmm. I think, and we didn't even talk about this now, but I think the good thing would be, for this list is that one of the other criteria is that you're still currently in production. Okay.
So you would remove someone who has decided to stop making soap.
I mean, you can put them on there, but for example, at least initially, it would be that because for example, I mentioned Shaver Heaven and Reef Point. Right. I have a couple of their soaps, but I mean, why put them on there if someone that looks at that list is just be like, oh, I'd love to grab that. Oh, wait, I can't anymore. I can't do that anymore. Maybe, or maybe just have a separate list of
discontinue,
no longer in production. What they would have been or what they are. It might be worth something to note.
I get what you mean. Yeah, I think when in the early stages, it is definitely important to focus on what's actually available on market. Granted, the discontinued soaps, if you guys, there are folks who are into any of the buy sell trade forums and whatnot, but You know, I know some folks have no interest in using used soaps, which is totally normal. But yeah, I think we should.
I am not one of those people.
Yeah, nor am I. I'm fine if it's there's ways to sanitize a used tub of soap, but yeah, definitely. I agree. We focus on what's available right now, but that top S class though, it is pretty easy to start there and work our way back. And I think it might be fun to debate too if we find ourselves like kind of have a large discrepancy in a certain soap. It make a fun point. It make a fun debate and to find out kind of each of what are the factors, right? That scored lower, or it's like, oh, ease of lather, slickness, whatever, whatever it might be. Similar to you, I don't. It's kind of like just the overall vibe I get from said shave. It's hard for me to really nitpick, especially across soaps that are very similar performing. Like, oh, this one's slightly better here, that one's slightly better there. Because in the end, if you had a shave with can goo, it's possible. You can shave, like you can do that at, the process. Is it enjoyable? Like no, it's nowhere nearly as enjoyable as all these great soaps are available. So hey everyone, thank you so much for checking out the latest podcast with me and Gerard. This episode wound up being split into two as we're still figuring out exactly how long episodes are and even where to take breaks and whatnot. So while this one we talked a little bit about the state of premium shave soaps and our shave soap tier list that's forthcoming, the next episode we'll be talking about premium soaps versus budget shave soaps. So it is connected to today's topic, albeit a slightly different angle. So if you have any topics or products you'd like us to cover on future episodes of Lather Talk, please let us know in the comments below. Thank you guys, and we'll catch you next week. Take care.